How's it going, everyone? Vince here with On to the Next podcast. This is actually going to be a solo episode, so it's going to be kind of different, but this is more of a gratitude episode, and I'm thankful for my previous 9 weeks that I've had on this journey. So I can't wait to share with you guys. This is On to the Next.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my cloth, they tugging it.
All right, everyone. Vince here with On to the Next. Like I said, this is episode 10. And, it's been such a fun journey these last 9 weeks. I've gotten the chance to interview some amazing people. Hopefully, you guys have been a part of it. I encourage everybody to, one, if they hit on an episode, subscribe, guys. That's the way this is going to be built. And I'm going to tell you what this means to me. So On to the Next, it was kind of inspired off of my inspirations throughout the years. And there are so many pivotal times in my life that I needed a push, that I encountered somebody that was there to give me that push to help me pivot to my next. On episode 8, I was talking to Erin Middleton, and I was telling her that, you can't depend on people, because I really believe that people will fail you in your life. And it's so true, and it's happened so many times. But I do know that God will put dependable people in your life. So for me, it's not depending on people. It's depending on God to put those dependable people in my life. And, the 9 people that I had in my episodes, they've been a part of my journey, and it was exciting to have them on, telling you guys their stories and their journey, because to me they are very inspiring, and they're a way of letting people know they're not alone in their journeys, because I believe with their stories there's so much common ground between a lot of people out there. Cree, on my first episode, she was talking about the struggle she had as a girl, with her family, with her upbringing. She didn't have her father in her life. And I think there's so many people that have gone fatherless in their life. And for her to take the steps she has now in her life, after trying to discover life on her own, it was an amazing journey that she explained in the first episode. Going on to the next episode with Lewis, that was he has an amazing story for anybody who's dealing with addiction, because I think everybody who has dealt with addiction has gotten to some point that he has. So it, like I said, there is something for everybody in each episode. In that episode, he talked about the lowest points of his life, feeling like he had nowhere to go, where he was literally drinking himself to death. And for him to recover, and his amazing story and his amazing ventures and creating opportunities right now with, there's a lot of people that God put in his life to help him recover. And so that was an amazing story also. I forget, and I know, so episode 3, my buddy Ace, and he came into a part of my life where I was transitioning out of a group called God's New Creation. And if you listen to the story, you guys all know that I was in a music group, God's New Creation. And that was a big part of my life because it was with my best friends. I was able to go on tour with two of my best, actually three of my best friends that I do another podcast with, the Kings of Monaco. And these three guys were essential in my life. And when we kind of parted ways and we went our own direction, I was like, where do I go from here? Because I still want music to be a part of my life. And Ace came in my life and we were able to write together. And he has such an amazing heart. And the way he carried himself as a person helped me even discover some of the things in my music that I was able to get out of. And that was another part of, I really honestly believe that God put him in my life to help me figure some things out that I needed to figure out. And it's amazing how God does that, right? And that's another thing about me is I'm a man of faith. I believe in Jesus. Today is Monday. Yesterday was Easter, and we celebrated the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that is a vital part of my life. And believing by faith that God puts these people in my life. For these episodes so far, Ace was a big part of that. And going on into episode 4, I had a friend of mine and currently running for Colorado governor, Will McBride. And he has, I'm telling you, all these people have amazing stories where they've either come through, they came from nothing, or they came from a place that they needed to pull themselves out of. And he was a story that he came from nothing, and his, I guess his fight that he had in him from a young boy to even now running for Colorado governor. He's going through a fight right now. And so if you're looking at where, if you're in Colorado and you're looking for, maybe you want to find somebody else, another option for governor, he might be an option for you, because Will McBride, he is also a man of faith. He's running as a moderate, or an unaffiliated, I should say, unaffiliated, and there's a lot of people who feel this way, that they are kind of tired of both the party lines, and they just want somebody who's going to be true to the people. And I call him a friend because I think that he really does feel this way. He feels like he is a man of the people, and he is one of you guys. He is one of us. And I that's why I had him on, because I really feel he is genuine in his story and where he's going. And that's going to be a big part of this podcast is I want authenticity with the people that are on this podcast. And I want to let you know, I am going to be as authentic and transparent as possible through my podcast with the stories I've given, because I think it's so important, because there are times that I've battled with my own faults, with things that I've been down in my life. And I'll share a little more with you guys about that. And so I want I kind of get it off with, Will, he, like I said, such a great guy. And like I said, if you are looking for another political candidate, and it would be a good listen for you guys to let you know what he's all about. I had my buddy Joe Alvarado, and he was an amazing podcast, because for one, he's one of my best friends. And to be able to just have a conversation, other than just calling him up on the phone, and we kind of talk smack to each other, because that's what friends do. But just to be able to have that conversation with him and let you guys know a little of his journey and where he came from, because he was a pastor's kid, and everybody wonders why do pastor kids struggle sometimes, you know? And he kind of gave some of those answers, and we talked a little bit about divorce, because if you don't know, I was divorced at a young age, and I talk about it in that episode. And thank God right now I'm married to a beautiful wife, my wife Bree, and have two wonderful kids, Brooke and CJ. But I'm a pretty fortunate person. But you know, having friends like Joe, you know, on that podcast, it kind of shows the need of these dependable people in your life, and he's been one of those dependable people, because at one point he was my pastor, and to have a best friend and a pastor, it's kind of a cool thing. So speaking of pastors, I also had my pastors now, Pastor Stephen and Adira Gage for No Walls Church, and I these two are an amazing couple. They have persevered through some crazy things in their life, and to be where they're at now. And I talk about authenticity and being a genuine person. That's it's the reason why I've stuck by their side through No Walls Church and remain friends with them, because I think as you get older, you kind of feel like I want to keep my circle smaller, of your, I guess, intimate friends. And because over the years, you experience so many people that you've come across, and you're like, it's so hard to trust. And you get to know a lot of these people over the years, but they have been just some of the most authentic people that when I need a prayer, when I need anything, they will be there at a drop of a dime, and you just want those people in your life. They're amazing pastors. If you're ever looking for an online presence of a church, or just want to go, they actually have an app now, the NWC No Walls Church app, and it's if you're ever looking for guidance for study, they pray with the church every Wednesday mornings. There's a prayer that they do with the church, and I mean they're praying all the time, but I mean as a community, they invite everybody on, and everybody prays on Wednesday mornings, and that's an amazing thing that they do with the church. We have studies and other things, but I'm telling you, these the people that I've had, and it. I want to say one thing is that this podcast isn't about me, because I'm like, I am no good at this. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? But it was one of those things that I knew if I didn't start it, and I'm like, man, there's so many good people I know in my life that have so many amazing stories and journeys. And I know if they've inspired me, I think they'll inspire a lot of people. And those two are very inspiring. I had my buddy Justin on, and Justin, man, this guy, such a great guy. Justin Lube, he was episode 7, I believe. Yes, he was episode 7, and just, I mean, all these people that I've had on, they're just amazing stories. I could continue on about between him. I had Erin Middleton on, and she had such an amazing reaction with her story that she has carried, because and it isn't so much the story, it's the relatability that they have. And I think there's something, I don't care what class you are, if you're low, middle, high, if you're the wealthiest of wealthy, or you feel like you don't have that wealth, or you feel like you're in a place of depression or whatever. I think there is something for everybody to know that they're not alone, and there is a way to move forward through a lot of your journey. Even with my I, I call him a friend now because his name is Fred Lynch. He's one of the founding guys for Christian hip hop, which is amazing. I mean, it's become an industry now that nobody thought like, oh, nobody wants to hear about your Christian rap, and I think even the word Christian has gotten a bad name over the years because everybody ties it to almost hate now, which is crazy to me because the kind of Christianity and the Jesus I know is a Jesus of love. And he talks about that, about how, the one phrase to reach a person is to tell them Jesus loves you, because I honestly believe that he truly does. And that's another part of this podcast that I talk about how a lot of these people have tied their spiritual life, working on their mental health, and working on their physical, on their physical self, and a lot of them have, and it's amazing how those three will tie together to help you move on to the next. And truly, that's what this podcast has been about, is being able to tie a lot of those things to help you move forward. And there's things that I'm going through right now in my life that I really need to depend on God to help me through my own personal mental. And I need to, you know, there's some mornings, and I know, Lewis, if you're listening to this, I have been slacking a little in the gym, and I think we tend to use the excuse of saying, man, I'm just going through too much right now, which I have been using that excuse. But I'll be in the gym tomorrow. Okay, Lewis, if you're listening to this, I will be in the gym tomorrow because I need to get back. It's one of those things where I think it really ties together of helping yourself out. In the physical part is just sometimes even needing to take a walk, getting away from whatever you're dealing with, taking a walk, getting out and doing some of those things to help you get out. Sometimes, in Colorado, I have a lot of people in Colorado who take advantage of the hikes that they go on. There's such a wonderful array of 14ers out there. Out here, I'm in Florida. It's been wonderful out here, and sometimes just taking a walk, as I don't do enough, being able to take a walk on the beach, or just taking a walk around a lake or something, because sometimes you just need that. Ace talks about kind of being one with earth, and I believe this earth is made from God. So being one with our world, or with nature, with God, what God has given us, it is important, just to get outside of some of the things we have to deal with daily. We all have stresses in life. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care who you are. If you have billions of dollars or if you have nothing, there's always something that you're going to be tested with daily. And that's what this podcast is about, because I will have, and I have had people who are well off, and some people are still trying to figure out. I mean, including myself, I still am trying to figure out some of the ventures and some of the things. And that's why I started this, because it was one of those things that I believe God put on me to just move forward with. And I feel that if it's something that is inspiring you, I ask that you just share with somebody, share the podcast, share what. So I do make reels or shorts that I hope to inspire somebody with these, because that's what it is about. It's not about me. like I said, I sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing in this, but I know that God knows what He's doing through this, and that's why I'm doing it, because I think there are some people who really will be inspired by some of the journeys that I have on this podcast. So that's what this episode is about. It's going to be a short episode. Like I said, it's just an episode of gratitude, and those people that have been on my podcast, I thank so much. Thank all of you, the people who have been on the previous 9 episodes, because if anything, you are this podcast. You are on to the next, and I couldn't be more thankful, because I'm just trying to be a vessel for what God put in my heart. So there are some other people that in my life, and I think everybody could relate with this, because I through this time, it all this it takes time. And me and my wife, we talk about it, and she knows what my goals are. But with anything, it could be like, we talk about it and we're like, oh my goodness, we don't feel like we've seen each other enough, or we're in the same house. You know, it's but sometimes we don't feel like we see each other enough because we are so busy with things. And so I want to thank my wife, because Bree has been an amazing woman in my life. Ever since I've met her, she's been a big part of my on to the next, a pivotal time in my life. Meeting her and having her in my life has been an amazing part of my life, because not only because of her, of an amazing woman she is, but she gave me 2 amazing children. My son CJ, man, I talk about this kid, how he is inspiring me now that he's become a young man. Being he got out of high school. He was a football player, but even as a football player, the way he pushed himself, the way he was dedicated to his craft, whatever he was doing, it was always inspiring. And now in college, and now finding his way through a career. And it's funny because there was one morning, and it was when I was getting back into the gym. I ended up getting sick, and I'm like, it messed up my whole, like I said, excuses, right, of getting into the gym and out of the gym. But there was one morning, he's like, Dad, I'll get up with you. And he was off that day. He's like, I'm gonna get up with you before 5 o'clock. He's getting up, and we're driving over to the gym. And I'm like, man, he helped me get myself started again. And to have like somebody like that in your life, and know that, like, was this part of me doing? Because sometimes we feel like, are we I guess teaching our kids anything? Are we are our kids receiving what we're telling them, guiding them through? And he's just that kid where, man, he has been such a wonderful, and I say kid now, but he is a young man now. And so I'm so thankful for him. And then if you've seen any of my Instagram or Facebook, or my TikTok, I put a recent reel of my daughter, and she's graduating this year. She's actually going to be moving on to her next in May, and so you know, such a beautiful person. When, like I said, when you see somebody growing up, and you're like, your guidance, whatever you gave them as a child, or just as now a young lady, seeing her, and not me, and not all me, my wife, she is an amazing mother. And she was that when they were young. She was like such a rock in the family. I was working a lot, and she was there and such a rock for our family. And I could see it now that they're older, how grounded they are. Teenagers will be teenagers, but I see the decisions she makes, how grounded she is in what she's doing, and some of the decisions that she does make. She's like, yeah, that's probably too far. I need to make this decision. And it makes me confident in knowing that, you know, I think my kids are going to be good in life because I feel like, for one, we put God in our life, and for two, they've kind of taken the guidance that, I think we have given them through our relationship with God, and taken it. And so happy for my family because they've been a big part in, helping me out because I can't do this alone. And you know, I talk about my immediate family, my mother, which, my spiritual walk, I thank her for a lot of that because she has been, in a sense, that rock for me on that side because she introduced me. She's prayed for me. She's guided me through that. And that's been so vital in my life and so needed. Even now, I've been able to spend a lot of time with her. She lives out here in Florida with me now, and I thank God for her so much. And my stepdad Ray, I ask that you guys just pray for him also. And over the years he's been a big part in, my life, and I'm thankful for him too. And I just ask that you continue to pray for him. But I go over to my dad. Growing up, my dad, he took a lot of what my grandparents. I was so close to my grandmother growing up, his mother, and my grandfather. I was really close to them. And my dad, he carried a lot of, the morals, and I think in, that type of family, there's a lot of like, you need to, the honor, respect, and being able to carry that forward to your kids. A lot of the morals that he showed me over the years that I've been able to carry on because I've seen the way he carried himself. And nobody's a perfect person. I'm by far not a perfect person. And he had his struggles. And, when you're a kid, you don't see that as much. But, as you get older in life, you're like, man, I know the struggles that he had, but he still did, I guess, guide us in those morals. And I appreciate my dad and my stepmother, Diane. What a wonderful person she has been in our lives. She's so caring of everybody, and she's always had that. And that's how I've always seen her, as being such a caring person. But and I know this might be, well, this isn't the Oscars thanking everybody. But I tell you the importance of this is because we all have those people in our life. We all have somebody, I think even episode one, Cree was saying how she was so thankful of her grandmother because her grandmother took on a role of being that person in her life. So we do need, whether it be your parents, or anybody in your life, you need those people in your life. And, I want to tell you another person in my life is my sister. Her name's Esperanza, and she is such a beautiful person, just in every way. Talking about being caring about, every situation of wanting people to just be okay. And if you're not okay, she wants to be the one to make it okay. And it's like almost to where, you feel like Esper, it'll be okay, but she wants to know that things will, that when you're going through a hard time, she wants to know that she could help solve your hurt, and she wants to be a part of that. And I tell you what, she's my best friend. I call her outside of my wife, but she is by far the person that I talk to the most outside of my wife. She's such a wonderful person. And my brother-in-law, her and my brother-in-law have been so vital in my life, even through this time in helping through my venture right now, with this podcast, with everything that I'm going through. They've my brother-in-law Sean, and it's so good to have those people in your life. And I tell you, sometimes it may not come in your family; it may come as a friend or as somebody, but it's always good to have those people in your life. To do this life alone, because you all will always have Jesus on your side. You will always have God in your heart, but God will put those dependable people in your life if you go out and pursue the people. I shouldn't say pursue, because some I really believe God just places them in your life when you're seeking, whether that be in a church. Sometimes it could be in a workplace. Sometimes it could be in a restaurant. You're eating, and God will just place somebody in your life, And I've heard amazing stories over the years of people encountering other people just by meeting them at a restaurant or taking a walk, and just having that has been it's been really good. I should go back to Erin. Erin was one of those people that she came out from California. She came out here all alone, and this is in episode 8. She kind of talks about her journey. Erin, she's a mother of 3 beautiful children, and her job brought her out to Florida, which she had to come out here for, I think it was 6 months. And she was all on her own. And she reached out, came to the church, to Noel's church. And now it's like we're like family. Now seeing where God has taken her and her life and her kids, and it's such a beautiful family. And I think she would be a testament to, God puts people in your lives for a reason. And, I think God put her in my life and our family's life. And I think she would mutually say that, you know, God put us in her life. And she expresses that in the episode. So having these people in our lives, I want to just go on to, my family. The rest of my family have been so vital. My brother Mike, I just talked to him the other day, and he was talking because my niece and her husband were baptized, and I believe, I don't know if my nephew, but he, after the baptism, he had them all over their house, and he's done so many things to make himself a better person. And he's realized over the last year that he needs to step up as a godly man, as just a father, as a husband, and as a brother or sister, brother to, or uncle to his family. That he knows that he needs to be that person right now, and so proud of him. My sister Alyssa, I she has such a beautiful heart. She she has a beautiful family, and the way she cares for her family, it's so good to see. My sister Rachel, she just recently reached out to our family. We have our family group on my dad's side, and she just recently reached out, and it's always good to see somebody else reaching out saying, hey, I want to just start this group chat and say hi and I love you to all the family. And that's always good to see. And my brother Glenn, there's I might have him on a future episode because he was a big part in just venturing through my musical journey. And me and him, we did a lot of brother things together, and it was a fun time that we got to spend as kids together. But there's just so many people in my life that I wanted to show gratitude for in this episode, because I really believe that's what this podcast is about moving when you move on to the next, because there are pivotal times in your life when you need people to help you guide you, because sometimes you're like blinded by so many things outside of the direction you should go into, and sometimes you just need that guidance. And I thank God so much for these people in my life. And there are going to be a lot of people, even with my church family. With There's some people that I've never met before that I was inspired by online, or not even online, by just mutual friends, that I'm like, man, I want to capture your journey, because I think that so many people, and I really believe God is going to grow this onto the next movement, because especially now, people want to know that there is a direction, and I believe for everybody, there is a way to get either out of the situation they're in or move forward in the situation they're in, because sometimes you could be in a great situation, but man, it's like, I am struggling in this situation. I just need help. And to have some of that guidance and some of that help. And I believe sometimes listening to positivity through somebody else's journey, knowing that you're not alone in going through certain situations. And I really believe that's what this is about. I want people to know that they can move through whatever they're going through, that there is an on to the next moment. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. All the subscribers who have subscribed to the channel, to the YouTube channel, it's at on to the next one, because I couldn't get it was already taken on to the next. I don't know how, with the two on to the NXT, as you see in the background, that was taken for some reason. So I guess somebody else had a great idea for on to the next. But I'm trying to take it to a whole other level now. And here in the next couple months, I'm going to be taking it on into the streets. This coming Saturday, Lucretia is having her barbecue in the park, and it's for helping people move on to their next. Such a wonderful thing, and that's why I had her on the first episode, because I knew she was doing this, and I knew she's been doing it for the last 4 years. And these are the type of people I want to be a part of this podcast, to give their inspiring, because they struggled early, and now they're inspiring other people to get out of what they're going through. And like I said, that's what this is all about. So I'm gonna ask you a favor, and I hope that you're still listening, because I may be a little long winded, and like I said, the music probably already stopped like 20 times over. Those Oscar, there's those Oscar speeches. The music starts playing, and you got the person with the cane pulling them off the stage. That might be another show, but um, but I feel like I've gone on a little too long, but I think it's really important to thank all these people, and I've probably forgotten a lot of people, but I actually I did, because I have three best friends, and Joe I already mentioned because he was on a podcast, and I will have the other two guys on because they have amazing journeys as well. I talk about Carlos all the time, because he has a lot of things that he went through in his life, and same with LeBeau. I feel like it doesn't come easy. I don't care who you are. This life does not come easy, but it's the way you take it and the way you take it on, and moving forward. Having those people in your life, I don't care who you are, you're gonna have somebody on by your side in your life, and like I said, God will put those people in your life. And God put these three guys in my life, Joe, Carlos, and LeBeau. I've known these guys since elementary school. So it's been near 40 plus years that these guys have been in my life. And to have people like that in your life, it, it, I can't say enough because they are amazing guys. And hopefully I'm going to be seeing them in here in a couple weeks. But just man, just when God puts people like these and like this in your life, you don't take it for granted. And I tell you this because I think there are people who take for granted people in their lives, not realizing that God had put them in their lives. So don't take for granted those people in your life because it's they are so important to have. I don't care who you are; they are important to have, and I thank God for those guys. Like I said, I'm probably missing other people, but I do ask. Like I said, long winded, but I hopefully you're still listening because I would love you if you have the opportunity, share one of the episodes. It doesn't have to be this episode. If an episode inspires you in a certain way, share it and subscribe to the channel. It's the YouTube channel, and I post on my link is in the bio in on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The link is in the bio. Guys, if you would please subscribe because that's the way this is going to grow and the movement of onto the next, helping people get onto their next, because that's my whole goal in this is eventually getting to the point where I'm able to, whether it be mentally, spiritually, or financially, help some of these people move on to the next, because we just need good people in our lives. And it's, like I said, it's not about me. I just happen to know a lot of good people that God put in my life. And I thank God. And I thank God for you guys, the ones who are listening, because you helped us along too. So, everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast. Thanks for listening to On to the Next.
Play, 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 play.